What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Before the video begins, click the notification bell down below and set it so you get all the notifications about when I upload. Right now I post twice a week, every Wednesday and Saturday. But winter break is coming up, so I might increase my video output to 3 times a week, and maybe more. Maybe I'll stay at 2 times a week. Anyway, enough of an introduction. Let's get into the video. So in today's video, I will be talking to you guys about composition and what it means to photographs, and I will also talk about 3 different forms of composition. Composition, composition itself is simply the elements that come together to create a photograph. When you are shooting a photograph, you need to ensure you have a strong composition that's relative to the subject in order to create the best possible photograph. The most common way to get the best composition is to fill your photograph with enough information about the scene as necessary. But you only want to include what is necessary. If there are too many unnecessary elements in the field of view, the photograph will become cluttered and the subject will be less engaging for the viewers. Your photograph will also have a much higher retention rate, meaning less people will like your photograph. The first photograph in the scene the first photograph on the screen shows the scene of a bridge. This photograph was taken at the Everett Road Covered Bridge in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. So, pause the video real quick, to examine the photo, and don't forget to take in every single piece of information, because there's a lot of information, because there are a lot of elements. So, while there are a lot of elements, this is just enough to create a defined foreground, middle ground, and background, as all landscape photographs need. These rocks right here would would create the foreground. The banks, the reflection, the stream, and the bridge, and the white fencing would compose the middle ground. And the rocks in the back, and the rocks on the other side of the bridge, as well as the trees, the power line, and the sky would compose the background. Composition could also be the inclusion of multiple very different elements. The elements could be different in tone, color, temperature, or they could be completely different objects altogether. Sometimes they can be different in many different ways and still work in harmony. Pause the video again to take a look at the photo you see on the screen right now. So when you look at the photograph, which of these elements are completely alike? The sky, the water, the grass, trees, sand, skyscrapers, and all the people are very different in many different ways. But they still come together or to work in harmony and create a photograph. For the record, this was taken outside Cleveland, Ohio. That is Lake Erie, you see, and you can see the skyline in the background. The last way to achieve a strong composition that I'm going to talk about actually comes from a lack of composition and places more of an emphasis on light and angle. Yes, those are the 2 topics I talked about in my previous video, which I will link wherever I can. Do not forget that lighting is important, and you as a photographer can get away with a lack of composition. That is a lack of elements in your photograph. if you light your subject well and choose the correct angle. So, for this photograph, you probably don't need to pause it because there's so little going on, but if you need to, you can. And when you first look at this photograph, I can guarantee your eyes jump right to the spot where the highlight is the brightest. And so the reason why that is because is that so there's when there's a lack of information about the photograph, you want your lighting thing to guide the viewer's eyes right to where you want them to look at, as this photograph does. And that is how you can get away with the lack of elements in a photograph, but you still need at least one very strong element to make your photograph work. In the end, composition can make or break a photo, so it is very necessary to make sure you choose and create a proper composition in all your photographs.